Indiana County Technology Center, along with many other career and technical education centers, are striving for success in their respected fields. But in fields such as digital media technology, where the field is constantly evolving, we have to update to keep with industry standards. We use printers every single day, and we have accomplished a lot with what we have, but this grant would help us immensely.
Being a student in the digital media technology field requires a lot of printing, and it would be an excellent opportunity to be able to use high-end printers.
I still remember the first time having a photo being printed out. It was an amazing feeling and made me feel like a professional photographer. I feel that better printers will help future students feel that feeling and feel even more amazing about their work.
A projector would be very beneficial for our program. It would allow us to collaborate with other schools and industry professionals via video conferencing. We would also have public viewings of videos and use that as a learning tool for lessons.
A new projector would be a great addition to the classroom because it would allow us to have higher quality conference calls with industry professionals.
Here at the ICTC, students strive to get the edge, and with this grant, the transition to the workforce will be a lot easier.
The F word, I don't like saying it. It starts with an F and it ends with an AG, so I just don't like saying it. It gets under my skin. It really freaks me out when people say it. I mean, like, everyone's bullied, but when you're a minority, you get it harder and more frequent. Actually today, just walking through the halls, you hear the F word constantly in high school, so it just dwindles you like a lot. So we have this policy at our school that if you're being bullied, that you should tell a teacher. Just tell them, they'll take care of it. Well, 7th grade, I came out the week before school ended, and on the last day, a lot of people were saying stuff, so I told my homeroom teacher about it. It came with me into 8th grade, and I told my homeroom teacher then, and she said she'll take care of it. Nothing really happened. They stopped doing it for that day, and then it just continued on. Actually, last summer, I went to this religious camp in Virginia with a youth group of mine, and it was really fun. It was really exciting, really entertaining. But then when we got back to our cabins, it wasn't fun anymore. A lot of people in my cabin were very backwards thinking, very homophobic, xenophobic. It wasn't sensitive for me. It wasn't right for me. The F word was used a whole lot. Made jokes about it, made AIDS jokes, made HIV jokes, not fun. And then I was talking to one of my leaders about it, and I asked them to tell them to stop or ask them to stop, just so it was getting too much for me. And he basically told me that they were just expressing themselves and to suck it up. I got a phone card and was talking to my mom over the phone about it, and I was asking her to come pick me up, but she told me she couldn't since we were 2 states away, and that I'll just have to be brave about it and keep trucking on. Being gay in high school affects me a lot, actually. As I said, you hear the F word every day, you hear jokes about it, and I try to brush it off, but it actually really picks under my skin. It gets really annoying very easily, and I usually just block them out and talk to other people about it, talk to people that know my struggle, know what's going on in my life, and people that I can trust. So just put it out there in the media, make it normal for kids, because if you don't talk about it, then it alienates us, so we don't feel like we belong. I actually came out first to my sister because I knew she would accept me. She always protected me from people that were trying to hurt me, trying to attack me, so I knew she would be accepting. I actually felt really nervous, really nervous, anxiety full speed when I was telling my mom. We were in my kitchen and I stopped her and I'm like, Mom, we need to talk about something. I'm gay. And she just started laughing and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, I already knew. And I was just like, oh, okay. I was on the verge of crying for nothing. And then I went up to my dad upstairs in his room and I go, I told him, and I still wanted to be accepted by him and accepted by our church. And he said he wasn't comfortable with it, but that he'll just have to come to accept it and come to learn more about it, because I'm his youngest son, I'm his child, so he needed to accept me, even though he could have taken the choice not to. I told my brother the same night. A few days later, he texted me and told me I was deeply sorry for calling stuff gay and calling people FAGs, and he's just deeply sorry, and that I could forgive him for it. And that was a really strong emotional moment in my life, because it's my family, it's the closest people, the people I've known all my life, and to come out to them, to have such a large impact on our family is such a large part of us now. It's normal for us now. It's normal, just like how my sister is the oldest. It's normal just how my parents are working jobs to support us. It's just normal. They've accepted me.
Mental illness. It is one of the #1 killers of people all over the world, and yet we still don't understand it. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States, and 1 in 5 people deal with mental illness of some kind. The worst part about mental illness is the fact that it is silent but deadly. But what if it doesn't have to be silent? Every survivor of mental illness has a unique and incredibly important story that needs to be told.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I have generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, borderline personality disorder, clinical depression, seasonal affective, and disruptive mood disorder. For me, I knew that I had problems ever since I was about 9-10 years old. However, I didn't really tell anyone until my mom found out that I had been self-harming. We did have a lot of family history of illness. My grandmother had a suicide attempt. My other grandmother had a lot of anxiety issues. So it was never really something that was foreign. However, I was the first that I know of that really struggled with things such as self-harm. I had an eating disorder for a long time. I struggled with anorexia nervosa from the time I was 11 years old to about 15 to 16 years old. I started self-harming when I was 10 or 11 years old. I was very young. I remember being not even in junior high yet, and I had already began hurting myself. Relatively recently, I actually had to go to the emergency room and get stitches on my wrist because I had wounded myself so badly. I have been admitted to an inpatient psychiatric ward twice in my life. The first time that I was admitted, I hadn't done anything, but I had planned to attempt suicide, and I ended up breaking down and telling my mom. I remember just going to her and just crying and saying, "Mom, I need help. I don't feel safe with myself." I do believe it helped me the first time, because at that point in my life, I felt very alone. I didn't know of really any other people that had been struggling with things, either to the magnitude that I had or in the ways that I had. I didn't really know many kids that were already diagnosed with depression at the age of like 12, 13. So whenever I got to meet people that were, I think that is what really helped me to move past some things such as, denial. That was the first time. However, whenever I was only 16 years old, that was about 3 years later, I had to be readmitted. It was just about before I turned 17 years old. And this time it was because of a suicide attempt. So I had attempted to overdose on pills. I took a very, very large amount of my antidepressants. I remember looking up on the internet what to expect when you overdose. I wanted to know what was going to happen. I wanted to know what was going to hurt, what wasn't going to hurt. I wanted to know how quick it would be. Suicide can be seen as a selfish thing, but for me it was never a selfish thing. It was trying to make other people's lives easier, trying to take away some of that constant stress. I was shaking and my head was pounding, but I didn't pay attention to any of the physical pain. All I could think about was how stupid I was and the magnitude of what I had just done to my family. I just wondered, is this my life? I see kids around me everywhere that seem happy. Kids that don't struggle every single day. I mean, they do maybe, but not to the magnitude where they literally think about killing themselves so often. I mean, I thought about it every day at some point. And it feels like it's not fair, because it's something that I can't really help. And so, knowing that this was my life, that this was the card I'd been dealt, and there was nothing I could do about it. Suicide doesn't get rid of the pain; it transfers it to those that you love. And I can't do that. I love my parents too much, and I'm sorry. And I love my sister too much to watch them torn apart by something that didn't have to happen.
Mental illness is a monster. As hopeless as this monster can make you feel, it doesn't have to hold you down. It is a struggle, but no matter how difficult it is, it doesn't have to stop you from living your life.
Depression doesn't have to be this weight on your shoulders that just completely destroys you. I mean, it's always going to be there. It's going to be holding you back at least a little bit. But I'm trying to take that now and use it as a motivating force. I'm trying to take that now and use it as something to drive me forward, something to make me... I want to have a story that I can tell other people, that I can tell kids who struggle like I did, who struggle like I do every day. And I want to be an example for them, I want them to be able to look at me and say, she did it. Maybe I can too. It's hard to know that you're never gonna actually win the battle. It's not a winning battle. It can be a losing battle, but it doesn't have to be. But it's a battle, nonetheless. We aren't crazy. We aren't just, a lost cause. We're not. We're people. And we have so much potential, but we can never reach it if we do this alone. And that's what we need. We need support. If you fear depression, you're never gonna be able to combat it. You can't fear it. You have to take it to heart and you have to say, this is what I have and I'm gonna battle it. This is what I have and I'm gonna overcome it. Because you can't get over something that you fear.
Maybe you, like so many others, are struggling with mental illness. Maybe you do feel alone. And maybe you're afraid to speak out because you are unsure of how your friends and family will react. Just know that there is help available, and there is hope.
I am Derek Weber.
I am Mike Kirsch.
I am Crystal.
I am Sam Palmer, and I'm not alone.
I am not alone.
I am not alone.
I am not alone.
You are not alone.